Hi, I'm Garcella and welcome to my channel. So if you watched my past video, you know that I'm about to go on deployment soon. And when I go on deployment, I usually like to bring a stack of books with me. So I'm going to be showing you all the books that I plan on reading, and hopefully you can follow me on the journey to see how many books I can get through in 6 months. Starting off, I'll be showing you guys my standalone books that I plan on reading. The first book that I have is The Adventures of Amina-Al-Sirafi. You see right here? And I would go over the author's name, but I'm really not sure how to pronounce it, so I'll just put it close by so you can see it. Yeah. I want to give you guys a quick summary of it, but I usually when I pick my books for deployment, I just pick books that was pulling my eye, but I just didn't get to in time, and I want to be able to enjoy my reading and not be on a timeline or thing. So most of these books are just like, oh, I felt like I wanted to read these while I was on deployment. So yeah. So for Amina, I guess that's the character of our book. She's supposed to be, so I guess she's in retirement or something like that, and she was able to, finally settle down or whatever. And then one of her comrades' daughter got kidnapped or whatever, and now she has a job to go and get them. So this is what my first, book I'll be mentioning. My second book that I plan on bringing on deployment will be A Tempest of Tea. Now, I believe this came out this year, and I've been wanting to get to it because I've heard good things, and also like this cover is just beautiful. So that's kind of why I want to. That's kind of why I want to read it while I'm on deployment. So this was another choice of mine, A Tempest of Tea. My third standalone book that I plan on reading is The Kings of the Wyld. Now, this is a series. It has another one, but I was only planning on bringing this book. I've had this book on my shelf for a long time, and I've always wanted to get to it. It's about like a crew of bandits. I'm pretty sure they get back together to do, another hurrah, like another mission together. And I've always wanted to read this book, so I brought this on. Yeah, I put this with all my other books to get to this one too. So the next book that I plan on bringing is a book by Riley Sager. So the only reason why I picked this book up is because I'm trying to get into more books in this category. I feel like I don't read enough books in I believe this is either horror or mystery. I'm not fully sure off the top of my head, but I'm definitely trying to get more into those two genres. And I picked this up because a YouTuber recommended it and she said it was good. So I really don't know a lot about it other than I guess this girl, her family got killed and she was the only survivor. So now they're going back over the story to figure out what actually happened in the house. And that is the only one left. So that is the last of my standalone books. I know it's not a lot, but usually I love to read more series than anything, especially on deployment. So I'll have more of a story and characters to fall in love with while I'm on deployment instead of just straight standalone. So the next genre that I plan on getting into is the series that I'm still reading and plan on continuing while on deployment. So one of the first books that I will be mentioning is one by Brandon Sanderson called Oathbringer. Now, I know this a little, it's a little hefty. I'm currently reading the second book, and I plan on bringing the third book because usually I gave myself a time period where I at least read one book from this series every year. So I'm doing my other one, which is I'll be forgetting the name. Oh, Words of Radiance. Okay. Yeah, I'm not halfway through it, but I'm gonna finish it before I leave. And then I'll start the third installment while I'm on deployment. The next series that I plan on bringing, which I'm in the middle of, is Jade War. Well, yeah, you know, the Jade City series. So I started the first one and that mess was heart-wrenching. So I kind of put these on the back burner, but I do want to get through both of these, both Jade City and Jade Legacy, before, I mean, these are like a main priority for me, especially because I already finished the first book and it was really good. I rated it 3 stars, so I feel like leading on to the other books, it'll definitely like put everything into perspective. So I definitely can't wait to get to these ones. So those are the only series that I plan on continuing that I've already started before. So the next books that I plan on mentioning isn't, well, it is a series, but it's a duology. It's the only duology books that I plan on bringing, and that is the We Hunt the Flame and We Free the Stars. Now, I'm not gonna lie and say I know a lot about these books. Most of the time, like I said before, most of the books that I end up picking up, they sit on my shelf for almost a year or so, and then I pick them back up. But I believe this one is about, it says a hunter and a prince. So that's the majority of what I got out of this. But these two I definitely want to finish while I'm on the deployment. And that's one. And 2 more books we're adding to my deployment stuff. The next books that I plan on starting, well, series I plan on starting, are series that's either not finished, but I do want to maybe get to them. It's kind of like, I'm kind of like up in the air, but I wanted to give myself a little bit more options. Just in case I do plan on buying books, I can. And like, since I don't have the rest of these. And the first one that I'll be mentioning is The Pariah. Now, this book is about an outlaw. The main reason why I picked up this book is mainly for the cover. As you can tell, I'm a cover buyer. Yeah, so that's the reason why I picked up this one. And I do want to get to this one. It's just not really a main priority. It'll probably be out at the back of all the other books that I read when I see how far I can get into them. The other series that I want to start is a series by Gwynne. I read his other book, his other series, the Malice series. I read those ones and I really loved it. I believe I rated all 3 of them at least above a 4-star, above a 3-star or a 4-star. Mostly 4 and 5s because it was so good. These were like, not the first he wasn't the first fantasy series that I got into, but definitely like one of my favorites and one of the ones that really made an impact on my reading style today. And that'll be The Shadow of the Gods that I'll be reading, and The Hunger of the Gods that I want to read also. The next books that I want to mention are all trilogies, so I'm not going to do a lot of explaining, but they were the ones that caught my eye, and especially I had them on my TBR for the longest, so I definitely want to get to them. And also, I love trilogies. Like, I feel like you can't go wrong there. One of the first trilogies that I plan on mentioning is A Curse So Dark and Lonely. Now, I've read Defend the Dawn by this author, and when I say the 3rd book literally had me in tears, it had me in tears. So when it came to like my deployment coming up, I really wanted to get to these books, even though I finished Defend the Dawn this year. I really wanted to get to these books because like the 2nd and 3rd book of Defend the Dawn really made such an impact on me. And I haven't cried for a book in a long time. Like, it takes a lot for me to cry for a book. And just experiencing that, I definitely want to get to more of her books. And when I saw this one, I just had to add it to the pile. So it'll be A Curse So Dark and Lonely, A Heart So Fierce and Broken, and last but not least, A Vow So Bold and Deadly. I really hope this author can give me the same experience that she gave me in her first books. Since that was the first series that I read by her, I can't really, go too much off of it, but I really hope that this one definitely give me the same punch that the other series did, because when I say this author can write, she can write. The next trilogy that I plan on mentioning is another one by Brandon Sanderson. I know, he's gonna be up there, but he's definitely like one. He's definitely one of my favorite authors. I don't want to lie. So it will be the Mistborn trilogy. So as I said before, like a lot of these books, I know I'm not doing too much of explaining, but it's really just to get an account of all the books that I plan on reading. And tell you the truth, I only know a little bit about these books. So I'm pretty sure this one, yeah, something with a crew. I guess that's all I know. But we're gonna see when we get to it and finish it during deployment. So it'll be Mistborn, The Hero of Ages, and The Well of Accession. I hope to get to all three of the trilogy while I'm on deployment. The next trilogy that I want to mention is by an author that I've also read some books for. I read his series literally right after I finished the Malice series, because I ended up going through like my high fantasy phase. So this was the next author that I picked up. And since I loved his book so much too, I end up bringing this one on deployment also. And that would be A Little Hatred. I felt like it was time to get back into both of these authors, and what better time would it be while on deployment? So it'll be A Little Hatred, as I mentioned before, The Trouble with Peace, and The Wisdom of Crowds. I do feel like I'm picking some good choices here, especially because some of these authors I've already experienced before. And, there's a little dab here and there of some new authors, but I'm definitely dealing with authors that I've read before. So hopefully they can give me what they gave me when I read their books before. The next trilogy I want to mention, as before, like I said before, this is another author that I've also had the joy of experiencing and loving his books. And I done read like 2 series by him, Empire of the Vampire and Aurora Rising. And I love both of them. So I'm ready to get into his next series. And that's why I wouldn't say it's been a minute, because I had just finished the second book in Empire of the Vampire. But I definitely want to get into another finished series by him, and I felt like it was time to do that one also. So the next one that I'll be having is Storm Dancer. I wanted to give myself a little bit of a chance to do something smaller, because I know all the other books that I've picked before is a lot of pages, but I do fly through books fast. So it'll be Storm Dancer, and he's, so far to me at least, I felt like he gives women justice in their books. Like, even when he's doing the heroine, or he's doing a strong female, back character, he does a really good job. So I want to get into more, get another experience of him. And I just feel like it's time. Like, yeah. So we have Storm Dancer, Kinslayer. Like, look at these covers. I feel like his artists they be killing it, bruh. I don't know who's in there kicking it off, but they doing a good job. Yeah, Kinslayer. And last but not least, Singer. So I have 2 more trilogies that I'm going to mention. And another one is by an author that I had mentioned before in the other books. I'm not going to say I just now noticed this, but I kind of did. And that's The City of Brass. Now, the reason why I'm picking these books up, because last deployment, my coworker or friend, her name's Maharjan, she was trying to get into reading, and she recommended a book for me, and I told her she most likely would love A City of Brass. Now, I recommended it to her, which I never read it before. And that was last deployment. And she fell in love with these books and kept recommending it. She's like, Robinson, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. So I finally think it's time to pick it up so I could be able to share my thoughts on it with her and let her know how I like the book and, you know, bounce our ideas off of each other. So I definitely feel like it's time to pick up A City of Brass. Now, I do know a little bit about this one. I know it's about like a con woman and you know, in a city, but I do know we have a strong female lead in this one, so I can't wait to experience this book by this author. I'm not sure yet, but I most likely will read this series first before I jump into her standalone, only because, you know, I want to be impacted by these, and these are her older books because she came out with these ones first before she came out with the Amina one that I had mentioned before. So I would definitely want to get an experience of this series before that one. So it'll be The City of Brass, The Kingdom of Copper. Sorry, grabbing the last book. And The Empire of Gold. So my last trilogy that I want to mention is one that I've been meaning to get to, that I've heard good things from. I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be picking up a lot of these books if I didn't hear good things, but the one that I want to mention is Daughter of No Worlds. Now, I know this is about like a girl who's in slavery. I did read a little bit off the back, but and then she ended up fighting her way up. So we got another strong heroine book, series that I definitely want to get into. As you can tell, this is definitely my cup of tea. I love to see, especially in my books, I love to see strong women leads. So hopefully this series gives me that. And I could be able to enjoy it as a lot of people from Book Talk and Booktube who's mentioned this did as well. So it'll be Daughter of No Worlds, Children of the Fallen Gods, and Mother of Death and Dawn. Ooh, it's a little chunky. Let's see how many pages it is. Oh, that's not bad. Just like 700. I was thinking 1,000. Them words looked a little small. The next one that I plan on mentioning, I'm putting these both in the same category because these are definitely my most ambitious books books or series that I want to get to before my 6 months is over. And I've read both of these already, so these will be rereads for me. But so the first series I'm going to mention, I read this book while in A school, and that was 3 years ago. The other series that I plan on reading, she's a well-known author, and I read her when I was on deployment in 2022, I believe. So it's been some years. So about time I start the second series, like it's already gonna be 3 years also. And these are definitely my favorite books. When I read both of these series, I didn't even own them. So the first series I actually got while in A school from a library. When I was in Pensacola, I got it from a library, and I read through the whole series in I think like a week, and I experienced it. It was such a great experience. Like I felt like this author does a really good job of writing books, and it was just so nice to hop out of my comfort zone because I went from like romance, and then like I had mentioned in my before video, I had jumped into fantasy like right after that. And when I was jumping into fantasy, it was mostly like young adult. So yeah, let's just get into it. But I've already read these series and I want to do it. I feel like it's time to do it again. It's already been almost 3 years for both of these books. Both of these series. So yeah. And the one that I want to mention is Cinder. Now, the Lunar Chronicles. There we go. Now, I've read all these books. Like I said, I love them. And I bought the copies for myself because I wanted to do a reread. I've already did a reread of the Unwind series. I had also read that during A school too. But I didn't start a read in these, even though I already started a reread of the Unwind series. So I feel like it's finally time to break these books in. And yeah. What better time than on deployment? I feel like I'm definitely gonna fly through this series. This might even be the first series that I end up picking up because I just know I'm gonna fly through them. They're like 300 pages, I believe. Yeah, like 300 pages. The words are kind of big too, so I do feel like I'm gonna fly through these ones. Now I know like so most of these is like kind of like a retelling. This one is of Cinderella, and they all have like one big enemy, which is the queen, and she plays a part in all their stories. I feel like that's why I love this series so much too, is because how it's connected. Like it just, I feel like the series just blew my mind, and it being 5 books too, and the way that the author could just bring all of this together, like it was just so amazing to me. And yeah, it was just amazing to me. I'm ready to start it, like, and I still got them in pristine condition. So yeah, I'm ready to start. So this one was a retelling of Cinderella, and she was kind of like a humanoid or whatever. I believe Scarlet was the second one. This one was a retelling of Red Riding Hood and the Wolf. I wouldn't say, yeah. I don't want to pick favorites, but I definitely feel like this probably would be my favorite out of all of them. This one was so good. Like she killed this retelling. And especially because I feel like you don't really hear that many retellings of Red Riding Hood. Mostly like Beauty and the Beast, but not freaking Red Riding Hood. Like this was good. The next one that I want to mention, yeah, the second book is Cress. I believe she's like trapped inside of I believe it was like a kind of like a space station doing work for the queen. I'm pretty sure. At least from when the last time that I read it. I'm pretty sure, yeah, she was in like little space thing, and then stuff happened, and yeah. I like this one. I felt like this one was good too. I would say this would have to be my second favorite out of the whole series. But that's really speaking something because I loved all of them. Like, I loved all of them. But yeah, Cress will be my next one. And then Winter. While I'm reading these, I might even pick up the Queen one. But while I'm on deployment, I might Amazon the Queen one because I actually don't have that one. And I do want to be able to experience like the full thing since I'm doing a reread. So I might pick up the Queen story after this one. And the other one, now I haven't read these ones, but I did hear that these were like a continuation. Ooh, excuse me. I did hear like these were a continuation of the series too, the Lunar Chronicles. Like it's right here. And that's Heartless. I believe this is the retelling of Alice in Wonderland. Now, I've never read these. I heard mixed things when I had picked it up, but she surprised me, especially because I forgot to mention too, I've actually read another series by this author too, even after rereading this one, and she did an amazing job with that one, and that was The Renegades. I just remember when I looked at the back of this book that I did read that book by her too. So Heartless is another one. And the next one that I plan on reading, I'm not sure if this is part of the Lunar Chronicles, but it is set with like kind of like that same atmosphere, and that is Gilded. Now this one I did hear mixed things about too, and there's another book to it which I haven't picked up yet because I'm trying to get into a way where I'm not buying a whole bunch of books and I'm just buying the whole entire series, well, like you've seen before, because I got the trilogy to all these books, even though I don't know if I'm gonna actually like them or actually finish them. But I had already paid for them. But yeah, so that's why I don't own the second one to this book, because I want to see if it's good and if it meets my expectations before I buy the second one. The next series that I want to mention is by far one of my favorite series ever. And I actually was one of those people, I know it's a little cringe, but I got a tattoo from this series too because I love this series so much that I just had to, get it as a remembrance. And that would be, of course, Throne of Glass. Now, when I say that I fell in love with these books, like, it is an understatement. Like, I was on deployment and I was just, like, flying through this series. Like, I just couldn't stop. Now, I will say I didn't like the first 3 books. Like, I felt the first 3 books was just trash to me. But for all of the books that Sarah J. Maas done came out with, like, I've done read Crescent City. I really like that one too. I felt like that amount a little bit to this one, but since that was the first book and I haven't got to the second one, I can't really compare it. But when I read what's her other series? A Court of Thorns and Roses. I know this might be an unpopular thought, but I did not like that series. I felt like it could never top this one. It wasn't even close. It wasn't even close. This one, at least so far, like reading these books, she just can't, like, she hasn't, in my eyes, my opinion, she has not topped this series yet. And it's to the point that I actually put all her other books on kind of like, I really don't even want to buy from her anymore, but I did want to buy this series because this one was spectacular. And I want to definitely do a reread of this one. Like I said, I feel like it's time. And yeah, I read this last deployment, so why not read this on, get a reminisce, like read this on my second deployment. So Throne of Glass will be the first one. I'm not really sure if these are in order. I had kind of just stacked them up on top of each other. But the next one be A Crown of Midnight, Hair of Fire, Empire of Storms, Queen of Shadow, Tower of Dawn, and Kingdom of Ash. And this is how you know I love this series too, is because I was able to acquire all these books in hardback. Like, you know how much hardbacks cost? Like, let me show you this price. This is of Kingdom of Ash, bro. $32. Can you see that? $32. Spending that on this whole entire series, like, but I can't lie and say it wasn't worth it because this series will forever be in my heart. So guys, that's all the books that I have for this deployment. I believe it's either 42 or 43 books, which is pretty ambitious for me only because of how thick the books are. I'm already at 100 for this year, so it started at 80, but now I'm at 100, so I definitely feel like I can get through them. If you like this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And be sure to check out my past video, which is a Q&A, so you can be able to get to know a little bit more of me and why I started reading. But thank you for watching this channel, and I'll see you later, guys. Bye.